Got him on ours, you know.
No, I know.
Very hot. Anything new.
You don't like it.
Anything new, you know. You guys ready for this? Let's do this. Oh my god, it comes at you so fast. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR show.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
It's schedule day, guys. It is schedule day. I can't believe how excited I am. I'm serious. I'm actually pumped up about the schedule.
Making a movie with Tom Cruise must be the worst.
Is that what energy I'm bringing to the story?
Constantly 11 out of 10.
Yeah.
Can you feel it?
Jumping around. Schedule day. I think we're breaking it down in a fun way. You planning a vacation to Denver? We're going to tell you when to come. You've been thinking.
Yes.
Factoring in seasons, maybe, you know, factoring in home games, maybe getting away game. We got all that for you. We're going to look at the national TV games. We're going to look at best road trips, all these different things. When is Embiid going to get, you know, load managed? I think I know one game already. All of that, I got the fellas with me. A guy who's not contained by one smoothie. He brought in two, Brendan Vogt.
Yeah, one of these is a cold pressed juice, and the other one is a smoothie. Different ingredients, different bases. You know what I mean? So there's we're not overlapping on the fruits here. It's more about we're actually hitting every category.
I hate that I gave him that. Right
Yeah,
there.
that was rough.
I hate that
was
I gave
your
him the
fault.
space.
That was a tough
I
one.
apologize. I'm going to rebound today. I'm going to rebound. Did you walk to work? Okay. The man with the wind in his hair, Harrison Wind.
You know when they have those graphics that are like, this is how much money per month you're spending on subscriptions?
Oh, God, dude.
Yeah.
That's what we need, one of those for Brendan Vogt on smoothies.
Don't show it to me, man. Don't show it.
He'd actually be a millionaire for it. And then over here, we've got D-Line Co.
That's right, guys. I'm ready to talk schedule, dude. It's like the day that you all sit around and compare the class schedule you got at school. You know you know how good that day is.
Yeah.
This is going to be
8th period gym.
Oh,
Period, Jim.
dude,
Can't talk to me.
I've got a bead in that class.
Holy smokes!
You guys laugh, but all of those things are fun.
First period
And I think
English.
This is fun, too.
Sleep through that.
Is it dumb fun? I'm going to break the fourth wall here. I'm very excited about it. I think my colleagues to the left and right, pretty excited about it. Eric, not at all excited about the schedule.
Very unexcited about hot schedule talk, but we're going to do it, and we're going to make it fun, baby.
We are going to make it fun. Of course, later in the show, though, we are going to do some other stuff, including breaking down some lineups that we may see this year, ones that we hope to see. Every year we get excited for a lineup that we never see. We're going to do that again this year. I already have my lineup picked out. I can't wait.
I'm very excited because I have a running bet that we will maybe not get to that segment.
Harrison did.
I'm taking Wynn's side on that.
We might go long on schedule. But the schedule just dropped. That's why we pushed our show back a little bit today. And our top story, no Jokmas. No Jokmas.
You seem to be the only one surprised by this.
I'm crushed by it, to be honest with you. I just wanted it to happen. You're right. It could have just happened randomly. But it did not happen.
The Nuggets have only played on Jokmas in 2 out of the last 6 years. Do you remember those 2 games?
Does that include the real Jokmas? Or is that since Jokmas?
I think that's since.
I think it's since. I think it's since as
2
well.
out of the last 6 years.
We do get something, though.
What?
There's a St. Sava's Day game. You know what it is?
I don't know what that means.
Well,
the 14th. Bruce?
it's the
you mean?
27th, but Philly is going to be in Denver. So
but
shout
the
out
last
Kat
2
in the
times
chat.
they played on Jokmas, they beat the Knicks.
Of course.
They got crushed by the Timberwolves.
They got crushed by the Timberwolves on Jokmas?
That was an Anthony Edwards just explosion.
Oh, that was his game?
Is he
Serbian?
Does all of this play into your...
He's 8th Serbian.
But does all of this play into your feeling that ESPN will give...
No, I'm wrong. I mean, this is unfortunately a rare instance of me getting one wrong on this one. They do play right around Jokmas. They play Brooklyn at OKC, both of those games at home. Brooklyn on the 14th, OKC on the 16th. So if you are thinking about, going all out for Jokmas this year, Jok gets it off, but there are games in between it. Serbian.
I've been thinking about going
Me
all
too,
out.
me too. I don't even know what that means. What does it mean to go all out on Jokmas?
I mean,
Let's find out together this year.
you go to
That's
the
a good IG.
Collectively, let's go all out.
Yeah.
Just go all out.
Here's what it means. Here's what it means, Eric. Let's say you bought a ticket.
Uh-huh.
and you went to the game,
Okay.
and it's Jokmas.
I already can't relate to this, but go.
Would you be taking the over on Jokic points?
Would
you be taking triple-double lock? Putting
Doesn't
a
he
extra
not
money?
have
I would
great
take
stats
the-
on Jokmas?
I
historically?
would take the absolute under because that's the first part of the season.
Well, no, Jokmas is that's when
Wow.
he comes
That's when
out
the
of his
season
shell.
starts.
He comes
That's the
out,
official
sees-
start of the
sees
season.
his shadow.
I suppose. We'll
Winter's
see.
over. Serbian Christmas, December 7th, will be a home game.
Oh,
We might do Serbian Heritage Night this year. Who knows?
slow your roll.
Slow your roll.
Orthodox.
As
Slow
the
your roll.
last NBA team not to do Serbian Heritage Night for some reason. That will be against Detroit, so another one that should be a good win.
Okay, that's a win. 1-0.
Are you looking for a follow up
yeah,
on that?
I just am looking for you. I'm
Man,
trying
hot
to
schedule
dish.
talk's going to be tough today. We have to have a big reaction to every game that's brought up. Ah!
Well, I mean, we can pencil that in. 1-0.
Let's go, dude.
Is MLK what is MLK falls on the 15th this year? Yeah, the 15th. So what do we have for MLK? The Nuggets playing on the MLK Day? They are yes, they are. No, they're not. They're one of the few teams that won't play on MLK Day this year. Isn't that a little bit surprising? Usually at MLK there's like 13 games. So they're one of the ones that are not.
I don't have a reaction to that.
I know.
I'm digging deep. I'll tell you that I really am
All right,
digging deep.
Nuggets 76ers, another marquee matchup. We're going through marquee matchups first.
Okay.
Nuggets 76ers, they play them both on national television,
Yep.
both in the month of January. They play them first in Philadelphia on the 16th of January. That game will be on TNT. Then they play them again 11 days later, the 27th of January, and that game will be on ABC.
One of the things I was looking forward to most in the schedule was how many of those ABC primetime games there are. Because 22 national TV games, that's great. That's a bunch, one of the most in the NBA. But also 4 ABC games.
Right.
And the ABC games,
That's different.
they're on a different level
Yep.
than TNT and ESPN games. Like ABC
Yeah.
prime time games, like those are a big deal. And one of those is against Philly, January 27th, ABC Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Mountain Time.
That's
Hey.
unbelievable.
You know what that game, who's calling that game then?
Who's that?
It's ABC. It's probably Doc Rivers. So we will get the Doc Rivers calling his old team. I just can't wait. Will we get, for my money, Nikola Jokic is the best center in the NBA. Are we going to get it?
Is this going to be simulcast? Will it also be an altitude?
ABC?
Probably not for ABC.
Man, I don't know. Maybe.
Let's see.
What, you're going to want to
No.
not listen to Doc Rivers?
Yeah, I don't want to listen to Doc Rivers.
Yep.
It's
He
just
might
ABC.
hate his old team. He got him fired. You don't want to scorn Doc Rivers just making subtle jabs at him?
Doc Rivers is so smart. He's so good at the media game where he will 100% throw a jab at Joel Embiid.
You know what he might do?
100%.
And it'll seem organic within the flow of the call, but what did it take, to beat Denver in that same setting? When he was we had to go all out. I mean, we had to take Embiid
I'll
off.
do it. Yes.
And so maybe that adjustment.
Oh, that would be the best if he was like, when we played him, we were down big at half and we had him beat on Yoke.
So we had to
switched
try.
Embiid off of him.
And then we found.
And then we found out it actually kind of threw them off.
That's
when
what
we-
I'm looking for.
He's also going to have this one in the chamber. He's going to be like, the Nuggets, one key ingredient to their championship run was continuity. They trusted their plan.
I agree.
They did not skip steps.
Yeah.
That's something we did not do in Philly.
know.
We did not do that in Philly last
They've
year.
empowered Michael Malone.
Yeah.
I can't wait. What, give us
They've
your doc.
stuck to their plan.
The rough thing, I don't have a doc take, but the rough thing about this game is that it's the first Philly game is that it's part of the death road trip that they take every year to the East Coast, which is
It's the first of it though.
yes, but all the same, like this is always the nadir of the season.
You're right.
It's all this East Coast trip is like always where you're like, I mean, we're obviously talking about a new squad, new
totally
attitude,
different. So different.
But it's always like this. I just always am like, when this road trip comes around, you're like, oh god, because you just know they're like, six cities in 5 days, whatever, and it's always like brutal. So hopefully that doesn't play into.
And
it,
it's
but
the East, which I think it's sneaky how little those games matter to players because they're like, this isn't even we don't even scout these teams early. We just kind of do our thing. I will say though, that is true, that East Coast road trip, but January, generally speaking, is when Denver kind of turns it on. Like they're a slow starter, Jokmas comes around, and then January they're rolling. So two conflicting trends for the Nuggets here that I think will be kind of interesting. So that's Philly. And last thing on Philly, we saw this last year where away and home game were somewhat close. And then, Philly wins, Embiid plays well at Philly, and it was almost close enough that it was like, what's the point of playing? I just played that one. And I do wonder if we're going to get the same thing. You play at Philly first, then you have to come to Denver, and I could just see a scenario. Has anybody checked? Is Philly on a back-to-back or anything? Would they come to Denver? Look it up. Look at Philly's schedule.
That's a great question.
I want to see if there's like a built-in excuse already for Joel. Nuggets Suns, they play 3 times. All of those on national television, 2 of those in Denver.
Oh, man. They're going to be in Atlanta on the 11th of December with a few days surrounding the play-in tournament or the in-season tournament. L. That's an L.
They're going to be in Atlanta, get a night off, go out.
They're going to eat some lemon pepper wings. I'll tell you that much.
They might have some loose lemon pepper wings.
That one's an L. Write that down. Right?
Damn it. So the Suns won 3 times on national television. Any takes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that it's 2 in Denver. Because it does feel like one of the reasons why Denver was slower to win over a national audience was that we could point to so many of those instances. Oh, they get the ESPN game. Well, we know, but they're on the second end of a back-to-back.
Right.
Or, they're on the road. Or, of course, it's now.
They're being served up as food in those.
It's, as opposed to that Christmas game against the Suns where it was really just a showcase under the lights and the Nuggets ran them. So hopefully you get back to that vibe a little bit, because one thing I really learned putting out those graphics on social, the Jamal Murray and Jokic myriad stats across the league, those 2 guys really love playing the Suns. They put up big numbers. So I'm excited to see them. I have a feeling that both of those teams will take that matchup fairly seriously every time,
no
regardless
question.
of what they tell us.
The first meeting, December 1st, that's in Phoenix. And then the next 2 don't come until later in the season, March 5th versus Phoenix in Denver, and then March 27th versus Phoenix. Those 2 games, I mean, the Suns theoretically should be firing on all cylinders by then. I mean, early on in the season, maybe there's, some growing pains with them, but you got 2 games in March against Phoenix. Like, those will potentially be playoff previews.
They have to get warmed up. What's that play we call? Oh, yeah, ISO? Oh, yeah, that's right. What's number 2? ISO.
Wait, your turn? Then what is it? Oh, it's my turn.
That is my turn. Okay.
Wait, who's me?
March, though, I will
Bradley?
say, end of the year. So this will be, like, those games should matter. I think, in my personal opinion, Denver and Phoenix are going to be 1-2 in the standing. I think that's the likeliest outcome. And those both coming in March could be, pretty big games for the season.
Yeah. Just going back to Philly real quick, Denver will catch them in that Philly game. It'll be the second night of a back-to-back for Philly. So Philly plays Houston
Embiid's going
Monday.
so off against Houston, too. He's going to dominate Jeff
Oh.
Green.
That's the one in Philly?
Oh, he's going to put up 55 on Jeff Green and then sit out against Denver.
So then Philly's back-to-back, but they stay home. to
Beware,
host Denver.
Şengün. Beware.
Şengün has no answer for him.
And then when they're in Denver, they play 2 nights prior in Indiana.
Okay.
All right, so they're good. That game, no excuses, Joel.
No excuses. Just produce.
Play like a champ. Here's the other thing, actually, to go back to Philly. I'm not saying it's going to happen. There's a chance that he's not even on Philly by that point.
Whoa.
Wow.
I'd be pretty
Dude, this
stunned
hot
if it's
schedule
that
talk
early.
just got very
It
hot.
got very hot. I'm just saying, I will say it's in January. I do think the schedule makers were like, we got to get both of those matchups before the trade deadline. We
Right.
can't let this linger past the
Right.
trade deadline. But you never know. Let's see. What else do we have on our docket here? Lakers, 3 times, all on national television. 2 of those, though, on the road. What do you think, Wind? And so they play opening night
For the
at
Lakers?
home.
Yeah,
Then they don't
October
play the Lakers in
24th.
Denver again to the playoffs.
Well, then they play February 8th at the Lakers. That's TNT. And then March 2nd at the Lakers, ABC. So the only home game versus the Lakers is opening night, ring night.
I love it.
But then there is one of those marquee games on ABC against the Lakers. That should be a great one.
Will LeBron James mull retirement at any point during those games, after them, or surrounding?
Will he have recovered from the surgery by then?
Whoo, there's a lot of questions. Hot schedule talk brings out the most hot topics.
Well, what I do like about this one, though, is opening night is ring night. It's banner night. We talked about this the other day, but I don't think there'll be a ton of Lakers fans in the. I mean, there'll be some. Like those guys, they stopped watching the NBA last year. They didn't even notice the Lakers got swept. But there won't be that many for banner night. I just think that'll be a Nuggets heavy night. Then they don't come back. So it's like I just don't think we'll get the typical.
We
Lakers
deal
cycle.
with Lakers fans as few times as possible this
Right.
season. Best case scenario.
And the one really the only one that matters is that first one. And it's so perfect. It feels like a gift from the schedule makers to just go, oh, you thought the title run was perfect. Got one more little gift.
the only time
who do you want there on ring night? Who would you like to have a front row seat to your glory and your enshrinement? Of course, it's the Lakers. That's perfect to me. I'm pumped on it.
Yeah, really, the only time we'll deal with Lakers fans is if you go to Elitch's.
Or like View House.
Or View House.
If you go to View House, View House is better. Yeah, they're really at View House.
I forgot to tell you guys when it was happening during the series, that playoff series. I was going for jogs every day. Nice humble brag. And there was a guy who before game 1, this guy was out there full Lakers gear, like head to toe, hat, LeBron James. Game 2, he's down to just the jersey.
Yeah, of course. He stood out too much.
It's the Lakers jersey. Yeah. Game 4, Lakers gear is gone.
Was he mulling retirement?
Yeah, I don't know. I loved that. It was a real fun visualization of
Nuggets Wolves. 4 times they play, of course. 1 on national television. Only 1.
I mean, it's the Wolves.
The Wolves?
It's the Wolves dragging that one down.
But it's kind of weird. They play them once up front at Minnesota in November, and then the other 3 are all bunched together end of March and April. So it's gonna feel like they play the Wolves 100 times down the stretch.
So if they do match up with the Wolves, like say they play them in the first round again, they will play them on March 19th, March 29th, April 10th, 3 times in 3 weeks basically, and then the playoffs. So I hope they don't match up with them. That would be annoying. It's annoying to play a team that many times in a row if you go right into a playoff or something.
Yeah, but it's also kind of intriguing because then when you have teams that you're playing multiple times, you kind of like get to adjust to what they do. It's like mini playoffs.
Yeah, you have this is a playoff preview narrative.
Yeah.
A lot of juice there.
Also, as I predict, maybe Karl Anthony Towns not on the team at the end of the year. So there. And then the last one I have for marquee games, Bruce Brown night. January 14th.
Oh, man.
They kind of make us wait for it. Don't you feel? January 14th, I almost wish Indiana was coming to Denver in October.
I hope he doesn't play. I hope you just get a cheer for him and then he sits.
I hope he plays. We're going to murder them.
It's a 1:30 matinee, too.
1:30 matinee, bring the family out. Brucey B night.
Oh, Bruce is going to kill them. A matinee game, he's going to be going 201%. They're just going to be like, brother, slow down.
I don't know. I like that one. I'm excited for that one. To me, that's like a big event. I would guess, if I'm just guessing, I haven't even talked to Spence, our events coordinator. I would bet that game Sunday at Indiana is a takeover game.
Oh, a little day drinking.
A little day drinking
nice.
takeover.
Little Sunday fun day, day
Sunday
drinking.
Fun day. Why not, man?
Wow.
All right, let's take a break. On the other side, national television. Did Denver get the respect they deserve? Longest road trip. We'll keep diving into this.
AG1. AG1. If you guys are looking to, have a little bit more of a daily routine in your life, AG1 can help with that because it's the start of my day. I wake up, take a shower, go to the fridge, pour a glass of AG1. Just one scoop of AG1 in a cup of water every single day. Sets you up for a great day. If you want better gut health, if you want more energy in your daily life, AG1 is your answer. It's good with all diets, all dietary restrictions. If a comprehensive solution is what you need for your supplement routine, then try AG1. Get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase as well. Go to drinkag1.com/nuggets, drinkag1.com/nuggets. Check it out. Vitamins, minerals, AG1 just sets you up for a great day.
Make every day feel like schedule release day. You know what I mean?
You can do that with AG1. One scoop of AG1 in a cup of water every single day. Go to drinkag1.com/nuggets.
Alrighty, we're back. Guys, by the way, next Friday, that's a week from tomorrow, we're doing a live show. Do you guys remember when we did our first live show at Blake Street Tavern?
I was thinking about that
years ago. Do you guys remember that? What a cool thing that was.
Yeah.
We're going to try to recreate that magic this Friday. We miss you guys here at the DNVR bar. So next Friday, we're going to have a little Nuggets, like the middle of the off season. Basically smack dab in the middle of the off season. Come on out. Try the new food. We got new quesadillas. We got a new fiesta salad.
Ooh.
We got some
teriyaki burger.
Teriyaki burger.
We'll talk schedule with you if you want.
We'll talk schedule with you if you want. It should be a really unique show that we're going to be doing live from the bar next Friday. So you guys come on down. Dev's going to be here as well. It's going to be a really good time. That'll be at 6 o'clock next Friday. Mark it in your calendars. Come join us. All right, let's get into this. Nationally televised games. The Nuggets got 30, including NBA TV. If we go to the rankings here, the Golden State Warriors have 41, which, as you guys pointed out, half of their games are on national television.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That is a lot. The Lakers got 40.
It's a lot.
Phoenix Suns got 37. And the Celtics, somebody in the East had to get all these games for the early game. They went to the Celtics. The Nuggets and the Bucks come in 5th at 30.
I love that they're tiered together. You know what this is, right? Okay, fine, you won a title.
They won the championship. Okay, guys, put them on the Bucks track.
Yeah, put them on the Bucks plan.
Just a conveyor belt, you know.
Yep. Put them on the Bucks plan here.
Yeah.
Hang on, you said Bradley Beal?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Eric, captain of Respect Twitter. How do you feel?
Well, okay, so there's two ways to look at this. Number one is ultimate respect. Do the Nuggets get the respect that is due to a champion? Of course not. We knew
you
that.
You don't think so?
Well, getting only 30.
Only 30?
But I'm saying, like,
it's really
if you look at ultimate respect,
NBA TV does not count.
But if you look at ultimate respect, it would be like they get the most. Oh. Never in my wildest dreams did I even envision that would happen. Yeah. But are they getting elevated to be in the top 5, which is a monumental leap for the Denver Nuggets? This is amazing. We need to stop the prefaces. We need to make every show from here on out about hot schedule talk. But the fact 30 regular season games that are on national television, people can see Jokic, including Lisa Salters, including people that are at the game and are calling it, are able to see them play. This is remarkable. I mean, never in my life did I imagine this happening.
This is really big for the Lisa Salterses of the world out there. Vogt?
I'm actually more with Eric on this one. I certainly know it's not the ultimate level of respect, but that's why I said I love the Bucks tier. That's where they're going to put the Nuggets, unless the Nuggets get 2. But there is a little bit of, okay, you got one, we got to put you on there.
You're like, all right.
You've got your Jokic, they've got their Giannis, you're in the group, but who are we kidding?
Yeah.
You know, let's talk Suns, let's talk Lakers.
Yeah.
You know.
We need to put our focus squarely on the coast of Phoenix.
And look, there's the Nuggets are a team that not a lot of people have seen or have been able to see, and historically have not drawn a lot of eyeballs. So I didn't think they would jump right to 1, but it's good to see them. They just owe themselves and their fans as many games with Giannis, Jokic on national TV as possible. They're the 2 best players in the world, and in Jokic's case, one of the very, very best players of all time.
I think it's a little crazy that the Warriors got the most.
Steph moves the needle, man. Like, Steph Curry just moves the needle. And now they have Chris Paul.
I mean, they were
They might be a disaster.
What seed were they in the West last season?
7.
The 7?
7. Right?
Old habits die hard, man. I'm telling you, like, they just have it penciled in. They're like, who gets the most? Warriors, Lakers, blah, blah, and you're like, those teams aren't good. They're like, yeah. We already put this in.
I think it's a little ridiculous they got the most. That being said, I think this is kind of the highest the Nuggets can climb, in a way.
Right.
You know, they're never going to have more games than the Lakers. They're never going to have more games than just like that next team that the NBA wants to market the hell out of, and that's the Suns this year. You know, the Warriors are kind of an anomaly. And then you have the one team in the East that you need to at least take some of those early morning time slots. They won't be ahead of them. So this is kind of where they fit. And I'm cool with it, actually.
Let's take a second to look at the Dubs here. They got more nationally televised games than the Philadelphia 76ers. And by the way, the East is so diluted. Like, the NBA was looking
when you say the Dubs, you don't mean the Golden State Warriors.
Let's take the wins that we get.
The wins.
I was confused. Thank you.
You immediately go to this idea of like, we didn't get as many as stuff of this. I'll get to that in a second. They got more than the 76ers. They got more than the Clippers. The Clippers really took a hit this year. I think this is the year where
people are done with the Clippers.
They're done with them,
Dude,
man.
Outrage Twitter is going to have a day.
Outrage Twitter. They got more than the Miami Heat. And then this one's meaningful to me because last year it bothered me so much. They got more than Dallas by 2. Yeah. But remember last year when Dallas passed Denver, and I was just like, really?
Yeah.
They get the president. So Denver has overtaken all those. Golden State is in the Bay. It's a huge market. They're more established than Denver, and Steph Curry's the biggest star. The Lakers, biggest team, biggest brand, whatever. Boston, biggest brand of the East. And again, as I've mentioned now 3 times, the East had to give somebody. I'm telling you, like the East, I'm surprised they didn't get more. There's not that many games for the East Coast that get people excited. And then what was the last one that had more than Denver? Oh, Phoenix. That's the only one that can bother you, but at the same time, man, I'm not surprised.
I think this is about right.
The confluence of like what is marketable, right? Like it's like Phoenix does probably get a little bump there.
Oh, they have almost the ultimate get this team on national TV kind of that's the appeal they have, maybe almost more so than others from a team building perspective, is they're cool in a way that kids playing basketball find cool.
Right.
And that is what gets you on national TV.
My complaint was never that Denver should be, like, I always think the economics. To me, I always go, Jokic is more marketable than what the TV partners seem to think, and they've never tried. Last year, the playoffs were sort of the test case for that, and I think they were surprised. And honestly, I really think that's why. Now, do I think he's more popular than the Lakers? No. Do I think the Nuggets? No. Like, so I kind of do feel like they landed in the right spot. Back-to-backs. 9?
They have 9 back-to-back, fellas. 9. There's a fair...
Is that a lot or a little? I don't know.
I don't know. If someone wants to somehow figure out how many they had last year in the chat, go for it. But so it
feels like a standard amount.
Fairly balanced in terms of staying in Denver. You're on the road for both here and there. So you got 1 in October, 2 in November, 1 in December, 1 in January, and then you get 2 in February and 1 in April to close out the year. That April run is at Utah and then Minnesota, which is on national TV.
Sweet. Dope.
Remember they happened to them like 5 times with the Wolves? That was the first thing I looked for with the Wolves matchup this time. But
they don't have any of those, do they? Divisional opponents where they are always on the second night of a back-to-back?
No, I don't think so. But okay. I haven't gone through the whole division.
2 years in a row they did that to Denver. As somebody pointed out, yes, there's only 80 games on the schedule this year. That's because the new in-season tournament allows the flexibility of 2 of those additional games. Could be as many as 3, so they could play 83 games this year. But I think everybody has the extra games that'll be added after pool play. Longest road trip, they've got 2 of them. They have a 5-game road trip in November, and it's a doozy, at New Orleans. And that, by the way, is they kick off at New Orleans, and that is a pool play game. Then they have at Cleveland, at Detroit, at Orlando, at Houston. If you just draw this on a map, you go to the south, then up to Cleveland, up even more to Detroit, back down to the south in Orlando, Houston. I hate when they do this. When they, rather than just hit the regions and make one thing, you go back and forth. But whatever, it's a 5-game road trip.
I know you're very concerned about the environment and the emissions from the charter plane releasing into the atmosphere.
I'm just more worried about long flights for my tall brothers. As a tall person, tall person.
Those flights in the first class of a charter plane just so tough.
Yeah, I mean, when are you guys going to catch a break? You tall people, it's unbelievable, man. But you know what's that road
Life
trip
is so hard.
That's a tough. It's going to be diehards only at some point in the chat. You got New Orleans, Cleveland, Detroit, Orlando, Houston, all on the road, and
early
it's
games,
in the year.
Yeah.
We're gonna, who the sickos are if you're still with us in that trip. But
no, the sickos are here today.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. I guess everyone here today should be there then.
These are the congratulations, and also. Look in the mirror a little.
I actually think this is the toughest stretch. We'll do toughest month in a minute, but that 5-game road trip in November, you come back home for 1 home game against San Antonio. I always hate the 1 home game after a road
terrible.
trip.
Oh, you really do.
It's basically another stop on a road trip. You're not home for long enough to unpack.
And with the altitude.
Did we
just being annoying.
You son of a,
did we ever
sometimes I think I'm on a roll like that. You're like, what?
The lens we have not looked at the schedule through yet is the one where Michael Malone complains about the schedule. Where in the year does Michael Malone complain about the schedule?
I'm telling you, it's right here. So it starts on the 17th of November, very early. You go on a 5-game road trip, as I mentioned, up and down. Then you have a home game against San Antonio. Then you go right back for a 1-game road trip to the Clippers. You come back for a 1-game home stand against Houston, and then you go immediately back out on a 4-game road trip. That is
Adam, as you know, you've looked at the schedule. This is pretty much us on a 9-game road trip.
It's a 9-game road trip.
We did win a championship last season, so the NBA schedule makers did us no favors.
Right.
I mean,
13
as you know.
As I know, that's very good. Honestly, it is early enough in the season, too, where you always think about Denver getting like home court advantage with that altitude. They won't be acclimated to the altitude. They're going to be on the road for an entire month.
That's what I was kind of jokingly saying.
They get back. So it's actually, Harrison, you undersold it. It is 10 out of 12 games are on the road, and all 10 feature a new stop. So that are all 12. So that'll be 12 games in a row where you're not in one city for more than a night. So that really is a tough stretch. The other 5-game road trip comes at the end of January, beginning of February. That includes at Philadelphia, at Boston. This is the one you were talking about. At Washington, at Indiana, at New York. So.
Yep, I hate that. I hate that road trip.
By the way, it is all East Coast. Then you go to Indiana, then back to New York.
Dude,
again, why do they do this? You're just right there. Just finish the circuit.
You never know, though, man. It's like, because especially with New York, there's concerts and stuff.
No,
it's probably like an Ariana
never
Grande concert or something.
For what it's worth, I have. This is now. It could be my rose-colored championship-colored glasses here.
Gold-colored glasses.
Least amount of gripes I've had here, like looking at a schedule right off the bat.
Oh, because everything looks like a big fat dove.
I know, because we're like, this looks like
All these teams suck. Bring them on.
No, I'm actually with Vogt. This is a great schedule.
This is a great schedule, I think. Yeah.
I'm with you. Usually there is like 1 7-gamer. I do think that one stretch is a little crappy, man.
Yeah,
like,
but everyone's
you know,
got it.
you know what it is? By the time Denver comes out of that stretch, it's going to be December. Oh my God, how does it always work this way? It's going to be December 14th. They come out of it right at Jokmas.
This is going to tick you off all year.
Yeah.
No. I'm not. It's not ticking me off. I'm saying it's perfect. I think that is from that point on.
We can be with our families on Jokmas.
From that point on, though, I'm saying from the 14th, December 14th on, the schedule will be easier. They'll be done with the hard part of their schedule. So it fits that Jokmas will once again likely be a line of demarcation.
You know what this is? It's like what we have finally achieved is that Denver was considered instead of thought of. Like every year we look at this, we're like, the schedule maker was like, oh God, Denver, oh my God. They actually maybe like started with Denver. I mean, I don't want to go that far, but they at least like were. They didn't skip over them.
Yeah.
Actually, I did think I missed one. I counted 10 back-to-backs. Positive residual says 13, but Eric, I know we both counted. I don't know where they're coming up with that number.
I'm confused. The way that this schedule is laid out with respect to the in-season tournament, I find incredibly confusing. So I don't.
Yeah,
it's possible. I'm not quite understanding this because it says 4th, 5th, 7th, 9th, 6th, and 8th, which is. That would be 7.
Those are just a lot of random numbers.
Yeah.
If we move on now to the longest homestand, we do have a 5-gamer in. Did somebody put this in? Longest homestand? Yeah, end of March through April. So longest homestand. Let's look at that. It is Memphis, Phoenix, Minnesota, Cleveland, San Antonio. 5 games, all at home.
4-1.
What's that? A 4-1.
Like, why do we even play the season? Let's just mark it, and then we'll just see you in the next.
I will say, I mean, Denver should have to run through the tape this year, unlike last year. But I'm so shook by last year that I'm just looking at the April games and being like, oh, they're probably resting.
I know.
Well, they play San Antonio 2 times in the final 7 games of the season.
Yeah, they do. That's
and then the time before
San
that,
Antonio likely tanking, right? Like that's another thing you look for is how many tanking teams do you get at the end?
But then they also play them in the middle of the previous month in March, not in San Antonio, in Austin.
Ooh, you want to go to that
at the Moody Center?
Hit a little rainy street action.
Hey, I got some buddies in Austin, man.
Dirty Six action.
Let's go. I'm going to Austin Friday, March 15th. Heck yeah, the Ides of March. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. Austin's a good city, man.
I like Austin. I had my bachelor party there.
Really?
Yeah.
At the Moody Center?
No, I did not stop by the Moody Center.
This is fun. I'm finding more back-to-backs every time I look at this.
What are you at now? How many? 13?
I think I have 11.
11?
Toughest month, November and March. Where are we at time?
There's 13 back-to-backs, if you're wondering.
I know that there are. I'm just trying to find them all in the schedule.
Let's take a quick break. You know what? Wind, looking good. We might have 4 segments of schedule.
Oh, God.
Today.
Yeah, I counted 11 too, Jordan. Thank you. All right.
But are some of them in
It's got to have something to do with the
tournament? Yeah. The way, whatever.
Coming up, hardest month, easiest month, narrative setter week, which is my favorite one. And then, are you planning a vacation to Denver? We're going to tell you exactly when.
I am not.
Breckenridge Brewery is the official beer of DNVR, and it's August 17th today. It is the perfect time of year to enjoy a sour. A Mountain Beach Sour, to be specific. It's the beer of the month at the DNVR bar, so if you're local, stop in. Mountain Beach Sour, a perfect beer for August, for this time of year, for the summer. It's $6, for a Mountain Beach Sour here at the DNVR bar all month long. Breckenridge Brewery is the official beer of DNVR. If you don't know where to get Breck Brew, check out the Breck Brew beer locator. Type in your zip code, tells you exactly where to find Breck Brew.
Mountain Beach is the only thing you can be sour about on schedule release day. Wouldn't you say?
I would say.
This is a great show.
I know. Listen, I'm captivated. They're captivated.
Now Jordan's getting 12, but I gotta say, someone like Jordan also having trouble with this.
I know.
It's very validating.
Exactly.
Oh, right. The other read. American Raptors at Infinity Park. Rugby Town Sevens tournament will take place at Infinity Park from Friday, August 25th through Sunday, August 27th. 20 teams from all over the world will compete for a $10,000 grand prize. There's always cool things going on at Infinity Park when it comes to rugby. This is a thriving rugby culture here in Colorado. Check it out. If you're looking to learn more about the sport, check out the DNVR Rugby Podcast. Subscribe to that wherever you get your podcasts. Colton Strickler does a great job, making sure there's meat on the bone for those of you that know the game, but making sure you can follow along if you're looking to learn. So check out the American Raptors at Infinity Park. Rugby Town Sevens tickets start at just $10. Visit AmericanRaptors.com to learn more.
Oh, man.
Alrighty, we are back. Let's keep getting into the schedule, guys. We got a lot more to go by.
You thought we were done?
Hot schedule talk.
Let's look at the month-by-month, Kale.
Game by game.
Yeah. When are we going to go to prediction time?
Actually, for everybody wondering, after this show, I will be going through the entire schedule.
Everybody was wondering that.
And picking game by game. And I will tell you the Nuggets' exact record once I'm done with that.
Holy smokes.
I love this. Look at how balanced this is, you guys. This is what you were saying, is that there, in years past, it's been like crazy unbalanced. It's almost exactly even every single month. October, November, 9 home games, 10 away games. December, 6 home games, 7 away games. Yeah. January, 7 and 8. February, 6 and 5. March and April, 12 and 10. It's almost perfectly even month to month.
You got to get that.
That's what I'm saying, man. We usually have a lot of gripes with the schedule. This is a great
We were
schedule.
considered. I
saw a friend of the show, Matt Moore, put out a tweet that said this site, Positive Residual, that analyzes the schedule, travel time, amount of time you're flying, home road, rest days, back-to-backs. They analyzed the whole schedule, this website did. What did they come away with? The Nuggets have the best strength of schedule in the entire NBA.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got our championship.
And I'll tell you something. That's how it should be. The NBA champion should have the easiest schedule in the league the next season, and the Nuggets
you don't
not
have
in
to
the
play
playoffs.
You don't have to play yourself, though. Yeah, that's true. Not in the playoffs. Man, we had the easiest playoff schedule.
I mean, I think part of that is because the Northwest Division isn't all that great. But
I think the Northwest Division's good. I actually like the Northwest Division.
No Pacific, but
it's narrative setter week. All right, let's go for this. Harrison, you put this one together.
Yes.
What is the week where it's like, this is the week that matters from the narrative standpoint more than any other?
It starts February 29th. 4 straight games for the Nuggets. 4 straight marquee nationally televised games. Get a load of this. February 29th versus the Heat.
Okay.
TNT.
Oh, is that a rematch of the finals?
March 2nd, the next game at the Lakers, ABC.
Wow.
March 5th, you come home versus the Suns, TNT. March 7th versus the Celtics, TNT. 4 games, 4 straight games, no back-to-backs. Rest in between each one. This is the narrative-setting week. After the trade deadline, heading into the home stretch of the season, are the Nuggets going to repeat? This is when the national media decides that.
You get you get your Western Conference Finals and Finals repeat, and your semifinals repeat. You're right, dude. That's it. That's the one, dude.
Yeah, and then Boston being the other team, which is the one people think, maybe is going to be in the finals from the East this year. 5th year in a row predicting that one for everybody in national media.
Someone has to make the finals. I get it.
Somebody has to.
I get it.
My money's on the Clippers.
You even cut out that they play Golden State 2 games before that to make 5 out of 6 because they play the Warriors on ESPN and then Sacramento in between those, which, by the way, Sacramento, that's the only non-national televised game, and it's a narrative one as well in terms of they'll be a playoff team probably in this or that. I think this was the exact same for Denver this year. If you talk about, the narrative was really more maybe the 76ers one that happened in January, and that for circumstances I don't think had nothing to do with the schedule. It just other things popped in here. But if you think about your own, my own thoughts about the Nuggets, the two things that gave you hope going into the playoffs was their January run, and then it was right out of the All-Star break. You remember they went and they smacked Memphis at home. They smacked Cleveland. I think they had one other big win.
And then they stopped playing.
And then they stopped playing. But it was at least you kind of looked at the schedule coming out of the All-Star break and you were like, all right, some big tests ahead. And they didn't just pass them. They dominated.
They smoked them.
And you were like, okay, I think this team ceiling is actually championship. Let's see. I think it's going to be the same here. You're out of All-Star break. The team should be rested. You could see the finish line. Yeah. And you play all those good teams in a row that if you play great, we're going to be like, oh, let's go, baby. Hurry up and let's get to April. And if not, you're going to be like...
And you could very well get your November slow start. We got a lot of road games. You could very well get your, it's March, it's more or less locked up, or we just want to be healthy. Mm-hmm. But I think you want to, that December, January, February stretch, you just want to be an absolute powerhouse, right? And that's what they were last year. They were in that stretch, you could visibly see how they were going to win the title for sure.
They could, dude.
Are you excited for Narrative Week?
Narrative Week, I'm always excited for. But I'm looking at the start of the season. Like, the Nuggets could get off to a pretty good goddamn start.
They could. I'm telling you, it's a great schedule. 7 of their first 11 games at Ball Arena.
Well, that part's, but then you go on the road. Still, though, you guys are right.
They could. I'm telling you,
tough ones at home though. I mean, Lakers, Jazz, Mavs. Chicago's easy. New Orleans tough. Golden State, Clippers.
I mean, name a team that you don't expect the Nuggets to beat.
I expect them to beat every team though.
There we go.
You're almost trying to figure out
82-0, 83-0,
83-0.
You're trying to figure out who Denver's going to be, really. You know, and for me, how different will this be from last year's blueprint in terms of when they put the pedal to the floor? Yeah, and that's my big question. And I don't have an answer. I'm just so curious. If this regular season marathon is approached differently for the first time, coming off the title.
I think yours is correct, by the way, for Narrative Week. If I were to throw my hat in the ring for a secondary one, let me just ask this, D-Line. Who do you think will be the leading candidates for MVP this year? If you were to rank the top 5 in your opinion, who do you think they'll be?
Luka Doncic.
Okay. This is harder than I thought it was going to be for him.
Well, I don't know because
for the last 3 years.
Okay, fine. Joel Embiid probably. Nikola Jokic.
I bet you he's in the conversation.
I mean, I don't know.
You don't think Giannis will be in the conversation?
Maybe.
He's
I don't
been
know.
in the conversation for 5 straight years.
Sure.
Giannis. And then maybe like a Tatum, perhaps.
Maybe perhaps.
I think you at least got to put him in the conversation.
I hate the worst conversation there is.
But I'm saying the Celtics might be the 1 seed, and Tatum's probably like has
He'll be there.
Drew Hanlon's going to be on the timeline. So at the end of January, you got Philly, Boston, Philly, Milwaukee, all in the span of 2 weeks. I think that'll be a secondary narrative one, more of an
secondary narrative.
Well, more of an individual narrative, like the MVP is going to come down to that little. There'll be a lot of momentum by the end of that for the narrative. All right, planning a vacation to Denver? Thinking about coming in for some Nuggets?
Okay.
I got a couple dates for you
got
here.
Some Nuggets for you.
Okay.
First one. Now, you do have to factor in season, and I hate to say
You do
it.
have to factor in season.
So I would say if you wanted to early on in the year, it might make sense. Like if you came
want
in
to go
November,
snowboarding.
yeah, well, like if you come November 3rd through 8th, you get 4 home games: Dallas, Chicago, New Orleans, Golden State. Those are all good ones. If you came in, so those ones you get. It's on a weekend. It's warm enough. November is actually one of my favorite parts. It's not quite winter.
It's actually bad for snowboarding. It's a little early, right, Kale? When does snowboard and ski season really kick off here in Denver?
Christmas?
Yeah, Christmas, right? So it's a little early for that.
But I don't factor that. I don't like.
I'm just saying if they're traveling,
If
they
you're
have to
coming
take
in for skiing, go with these later ones. I'm just saying if you like not being freezing cold, come in. Maybe this November one is easy.
State draft stretches you come down.
But the other stretch here, so February, so that one November 3rd through 8th, not a bad time to come. Flights are cheap. It's before the holiday rush, so you can get a cheap one. February 28th through March 5th. Now this is arguably the worst week to be in Colorado.
Nothing arguable about it. It is a fact.
But what do you know? Nuggets have a really good stretch here.
Is that the national TV stretch?
No. Okay, that would be the worst. Can you believe? You get Sacramento. That's a good game. You get Miami. That's a good game. Mm-hmm. You get at Lakers, which on a Saturday night. Why is that a good one? DNVR bar on a Saturday night versus the Lakers? That's a great time.
Ooh, no Lakers fans allowed.
No Lakers fans are allowed. And
I'm serious.
And then you have Phoenix as a home game to wrap up your trip. So you would get 3 home games with 1 road game. You get to enjoy the DNVR bar. The only problem is, worst month of Colorado.
Tough.
That's a tough one.
Another potential Denver trip portion of the schedule, June 6th. Actually, as game one of the NBA Finals.
That was so good.
What about
a real win moment right there?
Really
did you point out this March stretch?
No, go for it. I thought that's where we
At
was
home,
going.
Memphis. It's a Monday. Phoenix, Wednesday. Minnesota on Friday, and Cleveland on Sunday. It's not a bad little week.
It's not bad.
And then you also have San Antonio Tuesday,
which is Wemby if you want to stick around. If you're
and
doing
that's
nice
that's good.
poo-poo platter of who's next.
We've had some of these guys that fly in and they're here. They're like, yeah, I'm just here for 2 weeks, and you're like, 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah, dude.
So maybe.
But
you
I
get
mean,
the
like,
whole stretch.
those are some good games. Those are some winnable games, and that is when the I mean, you can get some really unpredictable weather if we're factoring weather into this, which we should.
Start the draft over.
I mean, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It's a fun, but it's also a tough month. I think it's a tough stretch of schedule.
It is.
Another 4-game road trip in there, and then a lot of your home games are tough teams. I mean, Phoenix, Memphis always plays you tough. Minnesota, Phoenix again, Boston, Cleveland. I mean, those are tough wins. So March is another one where maybe, hopefully, they have a lot of their heavy lifting done for them by then, because it's going to be a tough stretch.
Of those three, November 3rd, February 28th, March 23rd, is there any of those that you guys think is particularly best? I think it's the November one, but Denver in November, like, are the Nuggets going to be trying yet? Is Jokic out of his slumber?
Well, November 3rd is in-season tournament.
Ooh, that's an in-season tournament home game. So that's I think it's that one. I'm going ahead and giving the nod. November 3rd.
I think I think the arena vibe still has the title honeymoon vibe too, you know?
Hopefully we get that
Plus
all
the in-season tournament vibe. You don't know what that's going to be.
We're in uncharted
who's to say?
territory. We have no idea.
That's so true. No one's ever done this before.
No one has ever done this before.
All right, you guys, let's take one last break. On the other side, this exercise raised a new question I want to ask you guys. New question. We'll do that on the other side.
I can't wait for this new question.
Schedule talk still a little. So we're going to make it 4. Harrison, you win.
Of course I do. ShadyRays.com. Go to ShadyRays.com if you're looking for some sunglasses for this summer. You can just scroll their whole website, man. They have so many types of styles. Whatever style of sunglass you wear, I bet you it's on ShadyRays.com. There's also a physical store, a Shady Rays store in Park Meadows Mall if you want to go there and actually check out the sunglasses, hold them in your hand, try them on, see how they look. You can also go there and check them out as well. But you can, of course, go to ShadyRays.com. Use the code DNVR when you go there. You're going to get 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Shady Rays is rated 5 stars by 250,000 people. One of the reasons they are rated 5 stars is because if you lose or break your pair even on day one, you can send your Shady Rays back. They will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. ShadyRays.com, use the code DNVR, 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. You can also shop their entire collection in store, Park Meadows Mall.
I'll take the greatest Shady Rays anecdote that I've heard. Tori, friend of the network, friend of me, Eric, and of all of you, literally thought Shady Rays was a term we came up with to describe sunglasses. Where are your Shady Rays? The same way that in the South, every soda is a Coke.
Yeah.
Or every cotton swab is a Q-tip.
is.
Shady Rays.
Every soda is a Coke in the South.
You didn't know that?
Yeah, you say
there's
admittedly, I haven't spent a ton of time.
you've
in
never
the
heard
Deep
this?
South in my life.
The regional,
South.
the
That's
regional
interesting.
colloquialisms. Yeah, you say
Like a
I'll have
Sprite is a Coke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you say
yeah.
I'll have a Coke, and they say
They'll
what kind.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So now when you say I want to buy some Shady Rays, they'll be like, what brand? You'd be like, Shady Rays.
A Sprite is a Coke?
I mean, a Band-Aid
Wayne's
is
like, what roads do you guys take when you road trip? I usually fly over.
All right,
so-
I'm gonna put in a request for the Atlanta road trip.
Oh, he's going to be walking around asking everyone for a Coke.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Hey, guess what?
Atlanta, New Orleans, Memphis, get me on that one.
1 week from tomorrow, you can come hang out with us in person at the DNVR bar.
Oh, let's do this.
Because we're doing
Please
a little
come.
celebrating. We're doing a little
Please clap.
signing. Bring your books. Bring your Golden Era books or come pick one up and have us sign it. Talk nugs with us, other diehards, hang out at the bar. That's what we do at the DNVR bar. You can find diehards there. Have I mentioned this diehard thing? It's always a good time to sign up. You get a free shirt at sign up, plus every year after. 20% off merch always, 20% off all events. You get all of our content. You get our newsletters. You get everything DNVR. You're tapped into all of it. And so you'll end the Discord. You'll be ready to rock.
We'll make this a fun thing for you too. Like we'll probably do some kind of like actual mailbag where you can write in a question. It'll be like different games we could play, maybe a little trivia and stuff. We'll make it a whole event. When we did that first one at Blake Street,
it was so fun.
It was one of the coolest things. It was like the very early days of DNVR. We get there. I was like, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 people. It's like 100 people. It was awesome. The vibes were through the roof.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'll
chug a beer with you if you buy me a beer.
No,
That's my promise.
Seriously, sounds like Harrison will just drink a beer.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we get to. This is sort of like, it's the school season hasn't started, but you have like a little rendezvous at the putt in the middle of summer to
high school rocked in FOCO, man.
Yeah, just to like
shout out Gateway Park in Boulder.
Yeah, just to like reconnect with your homies. Like I miss my homies, man.
Yeah, we all do, man.
Eric misses high school.
I think that's what I took away from that. He loved high school.
Well, I wasn't traumatized by it, which it seems like I'm getting from that side of the desk.
Have you been below 5'6" in adolescence?
When I was 7.
Yeah.
So this conversation was interesting to me because we've talked about this a few times about, Nuggets win the title. Things do feel different. I'm not going to lie. Yes, part of this is the schedule doesn't feel like they just screwed us, which most years you do. But I think part of it is also like your psychology does change as a fan in ways you don't expect. And part of it is I'm looking at the schedule and I'm like, oh, yeah, man.
It's beautiful.
Everything's favorable. And it's just been everything. Like every little thing that how you look at other teams' roster, like, oh, that's
There are no
so
other
perfect.
good teams.
This is what I mean. There's
There are
no
no
other
good
good teams.
teams.
There's no bad matchups. The schedule's great. We've been doing this all summer. And I'm like, are we just we might be more different than we realized.
I love this. This is my biggest takeaway looking at the schedule because you're right. It's done from almost an anxiety lens in the past.
Yes.
This is going to be the stretch that's hard. Oh, the show's going to be a little rough to be on right here. And you're comparing them to all these teams that other people have told you are enough.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out if you're right that the Nuggets are.
Dude.
And now it's all you're on the other side of that fence and everything is like, oh, they can beat everyone.
This is what I learned in this offseason when people were trying to cut into the Nuggets championship is that they're like well, they beat an 8 seed and they beat all the, and it's like, well, those teams all beat each other. So what you're telling me is the NBA isn't good? Every team in the NBA is bad except for the Nuggets, who are the best team in the NBA, ran roughshod over the rest of these pretenders. Yeah, it's beautiful to look at this. You honestly, like, the schedule in years past, you're like, oh man, that is going to ruin my week. Like, I don't want to see that guy. Now I'm like, I cannot wait to embarrass LeBron James in front of his family.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. That's the energy of now.
I can't wait to watch Phoenix fall apart in a way that they can't anticipate yet, but we all see he's coming.
Four years ago, it's like, man, Trae Young's probably going to shush the bench again.
No, exactly.
And now we're like, is Trae Young going to play?
Like, when you were talking though about the you beat an 8 seed and 7 or whatever, to me for me it's like in years past that would be like, well, actually you're wrong because this, and now I'm just kind of like hilarious.
Oh,
that's what you have. That's so
Dude,
good.
The Smuggets, there's nothing more beautiful than the Smuggets era. Isn't it? It's the golden era, the Smuggets era,
Yeah.
Era.
Tell me more about how this title doesn't count to you.
Yeah.
Tell me
you're
more.
like,
I've waited so long.
Yeah, you're like, I have evolved. It matters to me a lot.
You know what LA championship means more than this? The Minneapolis 1954 title. It's like, that was a championship.
They won the Lakers moniker.
Did you see George Mikan in Game 3?
Couldn't be stopped. There was no paint. There was actually no Game 3 either. It just was the end of the year ended, and they were like, "You guys are the."
We actually are doing the thing that they. I love it, by the way, that they hate too, where we just pretend the bubble thing didn't count.
They want to talk about a fake championship.
Ago.
My entire personality was like, we made it to the finals in the bubble. It mattered. It was more psychologically damaging. Now I'm like, man, that Mickey Mouse
thing. A real title was this one. Yeah. Up was down. I love it. So I just feel, I'm telling you, man, vibes are on 100. The schedule is great. I'm just feeling it, man. I'm just feeling it. Kelly, you can go ahead and cue that outro music. I feel like we've done enough damage for today.
Didn't even get to my top 5 games, but
do we have to?
No, it's fine. Cue the outro music. Cue the outro music. Cue it.
We're Where's it
We're
at?
done here.
Where's it at on the sheet?
We got Buffs coming. We're done here.
No, we're not. Where's it
We're
at
done.
on the sheet?
We're done.
We use a rundown, Harrison. We use a rundown. Where's it at? I don't see it. We have Harrison wins top
The
5
first-
games. Top 5 games.
I don't even want to.
This is the
I'm not talking.
the first controversy of the season.
You can just look at the graph.
All right, let's take you. I'll take you through.
Take us
Harrison
through it.
wins top 5 games.
Okay.
How about ring night? The Los Angeles Lakers in town.
You can't, of course.
I mean,
man.
what's wrong with that? How about kicking it off at Phoenix, a game against, let's call it rivals.
Yeah,
I think it's a
course.
rivalry. We'll call it a
Yeah.
rivalry.
Yeah.
Speaking of rivalries, the individual player rivalry.
Oh, I can't.
That's
wait.
That's actually rivalry week.
Is it rivalry? January 27th, St. Salva's Day, Philly is in Denver.
We get excited for that one. Embiid, man. What are the odds Embiid is playing in that game? What would you personally handicap it? Because,
I need to see the games that surround that game.
well, he told you.
I wasn't listening.
All right. Well, I
we
just
did
feel
go
like
through
the
that.
narrative has reached him. I think the narrative reached him that he's ducking.
When you're going to have to explain this one yourself. March 17 at Dallas. What's the significance of this one for you?
So you guys know how I put ABC games on a different pedestal than
Yeah.
other
We
national
do know that.
TV
We do know
games.
that.
They have 4 ABC games in total, but there's just one that's on Sunday. This is ABC Sunday.
Love
Oh, football's over.
Afternoon.
Yeah.
Football's done. Clear the slate. Jokic versus Doncic on ABC for the entire world to watch.
Love
I
it.
like it.
Perfect time for our friends in Serbia, too.
Self-explanatory, wins final game. It's the Christmas Day game. They got the Dubs in town.
That's a good list.
It's a good list. It's a
Good
great
list,
list.
So good that it was almost left off the show.
That's not on the rundown. We have a rundown. That's how we do it. We do a
We
rundown.
only we talked about the schedule from 45 different angles. The 46th though. Sorry,
Yeah.
apologies.
I will say, Wynn got it right. He said we were going to get through all 4 segments today. Eric thought one.
Well, I was-
He said like
I was-
one segment of schedule.
You were asking me what I wanted.
Yeah.
I
Not
would prefer
what
that
you
we
were going to do.
I thought I would prefer if we were snake drafting sandwich toppings right now.
Well, that'll be
Stay
tomorrow.
tuned for tomorrow.
Stay tuned for tomorrow. We'll probably be doing that. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button on the way out.